Welcome to Bad Gear, the show about the world's most hated audio tools. Almost every day, critics of this channel spread fake news that I will one day run out of gear to review, if I haven't already. Today we are going to talk about Arturia Astrolab. This arguably most expensive home keyboard of all time and proprietary plugin host is the living proof that this day will most likely never come. A name suspiciously similar to your favorite personal lubricant, the UI of a smart home thermostat, and the most obnoxious paywall of all time. Merci beaucoup. At the first glance, Astrolab is ticking THX 1138 boxes. The usable keypad, comes without polyphonic aftertouch, but boasts multicolored LEDs for each of the 61 keys. Rumor has it that Google Nest wants its UI back. Arturia's V collection has become the industry standard for a reason, and most of the popular software instruments have found their way onto the machine. Clones of analog and digital classics, realistic acoustic instruments, and their avant-garde reimaginings, primordial sampling, subtractive synthesis, FM, and the almighty pigments struggling with the polyphony limitations. It's all there, almost. However, hardware aficionados who were hoping for a hands-on interface for these well-respected plugins might be disappointed. Without additional software we will talk about in a minute, the only way to modify these patches is by using four macro knobs. When it comes to loading sounds, well, it can take a while, depending on how well the 6 cores of the ARM CPU with 4 gigs of RAM can handle the engine. Changing patches is semi-smooth. Your tone will continue sounding until you hit the first note of the next one. Bitimbral in nature, Astrolab allows for classic layers and splits, but it won't be able to compete with the multitimbrality of a real workstation. 4 FX units with reverb, delay, and 2 multi-FX are more or less directly accessible. There is a master EQ and limiter too. Non-keyboardists like me appreciate the Arpeggiator and chord mode. And there's also a basic Midi recorder. The display/main UI of meme fame lets you browse through the barely tweakable presets, edit some FX parameters. It contains a few menus with the usual housekeeping tools and somewhat convoluted multi-configuration, but in case you actually want to take a deep dive into the immense sound design potential of the keyboard, you will need A computer, B Arturia's Analog Lab software as an editor, and C an installed and paid for copy of every every single engine you want to edit. You've heard that right, you'll have to spend another $600 in addition to the already rather self-confident price tag of the instrument if you want to edit a preset. Adding insult to injury, you currently have to monitor your tweaks on the computer, save them there and sync the patch to the keyboard before you can hear it via the Astrolab outputs. The macro controls do mirror flawlessly though, and you can assign a few Midi controllers even if you don't have the V collection license. Arturia released, you guessed it, a mobile app too. If you want to use the instrument in a live situation, playlists definitely come in handy, but don't solve the loading time issue. Wobbliness of the main display aside, build quality is great, that's no simulated wood grain sides, that's bakelite, connectivity is nice for a home keyboard.
The microphone inputs can be used for vocoder matches.
Thanks to Klangfarbe for lending me one of their floor models.
Arturia plugins like Pigments are up there with some of the finest instruments in synth history. Will Astrolab free these sounds from the confines of a computer, or is it nothing but the most expensive home keyboard of all time?
You have already heard a few of the patches in today's intro tune. Convenient like a 90s rompler. Let's start this out nice and easy with a few more presets in a down-tempo jam.
Modern and functional, it's plugins in a box in the best sense of the word. The huge amount of presets makes it easy to wing it, although some of the sounds might not be perfect for the arrangement. In spite of the ample offerings, I was struggling to find some contemporary bass tones. Time to add a few minor tweaks to a classic sound using the software and try to work around the limitations of the instrument's multitimbrality. There's a lot to unpack here. Without a doubt, the sounds are great, but in its current state, software integration is nerve-wracking and there were issues with stuck MIDI notes and frequent crashes. The sounds we have heard today were more on the mellow side. I wanna know if we can make it sound evil and epic and the keyboard doesn't react to MIDI properly. What does Arturia expect me to do? Actually play it? Dystopian dungeon wave of digital desolation. Just like Arturia's plugin suite, Astrolab sounds great, it has a spouse-friendly design, and if you just want to play a few patches and you can spare the cash, it might be the perfect solution for you. However, the invest in our ecosystem concept, lackluster UI, half-baked software integration and outright broken MIDI implementation disqualify it for professional use. You might get away with its loading times in a small worship scenario, but it will most probably get you in trouble as the backbone of a band or session setup. Because God forgives, the musical director doesn't. Elegant form factor aside, I see no application in which it has any advantages over a laptop plus MIDI controller setup. Since the dawn of software instruments, manufacturers have been trying to bring the versatility of plugins to the hardware world, and a few niche products aside, I'm not aware of a single successful attempt to do so. Do we really need Uli Behringer to solve
solve this problem for us? Hopefully not. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Feel free to like, subscribe, become a patron and leave a comment what other kind of gear you would like to see and hear on the show.